because this new technological wave came in and they weren't a part of it. So they have to go back and get retooled and re-educated, and they have to figure out how do they survive in the future. So we are heading toward an intellectual future, a knowledge-based economy globally. This is why the stock markets are all interconnected around the world, and they will become even more interconnected and integrated. They, in of themselves, will continue to be integrated in that fashion. So as we move forward in this era, this bank and things like it are going to help spur economic development when we're faced with a lot of countries like, where do they get their money from? Do they get it from the International Monetary Fund? So intellectual property is going to take on the fabric, not just intellectual property, meaning I own something, I own an idea, or it's software, or it's something for the next computer. Intellectual property is going to be more integrated in our lives because the world's going to be integrated into a digital data knowledge-based world. And that intellectual capital, which is leading to that world, is going to become very, very valuable. So we're going to have more metrics, more measurements of things, more issues of privacy, of course, just like the Facebook issue and others that are out there. But at the end of the day, it's how do we, as a global community, grow collectively and as well as individually, be able to sustain our lifestyle, the lifestyle that we understand, and help our fellow humanity while understanding what's coming. And this bank in this book is more about what's coming, because I'll say this, and then this is interesting because you can note the date down. We are going to have a more continuous economic turmoil around the world. It's forecast for this year and the next year. No matter what you're being told, I'm telling you now, it's going to, because we're still transitioning. That's why. So most historians will agree with this. Most economists know this. I'm an economist. They really know it if you're in a certain room and you're in a small room with them and you get them to open up, they'll tell you. Because we're still transitioning. That's why the stock market's down today, and it was down yesterday. It's down the last 6 days, and they didn't expect that. And OPEC decided that they're not going to reduce more oil out there, which pushed the stock market down. So we're still going to go through this, because it's not that people are greedy or certain countries are greedy or the US takes too much and they don't give another country too much and China wants to build too much industrialness. The world is shifting where you now have India and China that are raising, and far parts of the Asian world that are now coming up to the level of America's industrialization. But the only platform to be able to do that is technology. It's because all of this technology has been built for the last 30 years that allows this to happen. Now that that happens, that's the demand on more oil. Before, it just used to be the United States and Europe. But now it's expanding globally, where Russia, and now there's the new rich of Moscow, and that's in the book, where you talk about where Russia used to be just a military industrial complex. They've now shifted to a private sector industrial complex that they have to build. So when you look at this globally and you look at this intellectual property, it's just to prepare your minds and your understanding for what's to come and how to deal with this economic order and perhaps make sense of it. Other than that, I'm not one to talk too much because you guys have an exam tonight. And so I don't know if I'm in your position, which I was many years ago. I don't know if I want to sit there and say, okay, guy, I want to get to the exam. But the one thing I would say is always listen to knowledge, because true knowledge is power, especially if you have the knowledge to know what's coming before it's coming. Or you can embrace it and begin to prepare yourself to understand it and how to use it. It's just like if I told you guys, hey, there's this kid at school, he's wearing glasses, he's kind of nerdy, you should hang out with him. And you're like, why do I want to hang out with that kid? He's a nerd over there. Well, his name is Bill, and he's got this company called Microsoft he wants to start. Oh, he's an idiot. Now everyone would look back and say, well, if I only had the chance to be with Bill, I should have hung out with Bill more. That's how life is. Life is full of opportunities, and it's the ability to know to recognize which opportunities make sense. Mark Zuckerberg, they made a movie about it. A lot of it is kind of true. Not all of it. But, so it's people like you, opportunities sometimes can be right in front of you and not recognizing. So I would tell you that if you think about intellectual property, if you're in her class, you're thinking about the future, think beyond the point of intellectual property, but start going your mind around intellectual capital. What does that look like for you? What does that look like in your world? What does that look like in the future? What does that look like in the business? And begin to use your mind to think local, but global. So it's micro and macro, because no more, if you're involved in any part of the world of survival, it used to be, even in America, we wouldn't care if you were born in America. It used to be America was the perfect world. We never cared I don't care what China's doing. I don't care what India's doing. Now we're interconnected. So now what happens in one part of the world affects the other part of the world instantly. People say, I don't care what's going on at OPEC or the people that set the oil prices. Yes, you do, because when you leave this class, you've got to go put gas in your car. So whatever they say does affect you.